In this video, I'm going to be talking about CPD, and I've set myself a challenge to see how much CPD that I can gain in a week for free. And the reason I want to talk about this is two things. Firstly, because we're coming to the end of the year and I need to get my CPD hours up. But secondly, because I see that it's also a topic of discussion in the industry. I've noticed that some trade bodies are talking about CPD. And so I thought I'd create a quick video to see how much CPD that I can gain in a week and for free. Now, the type of CPD that we carry out will probably depend quite a lot on what type of work that we do. So the type of CPD activities that I do may not necessarily be the same as what you do, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some examples and some of the resources that you can find online. So good examples of CPD are things like work experience, training, attending events, seminars, webinars, attending things like the Alex show if you ever go to any of those, and also self-study. So if you're somebody who works on site, you may be thinking, how on earth am I going to find time to carry out and record CPD on top of my workload? But the good news is that one of the best types of CPD, in my opinion, is work experience. And that's because when you do work experience, you don't get a certificate to say that you've learned about a new type of product or material that you're installing. And so to record that CPD gives you something to reflect on, also gives you some great ideas of things to write about if you're ever updating your CV, if you want to apply for a new job. So work experience, in my opinion, is a great way of carrying out CPD, and you may already be doing it without realizing. So for example, if your employer asks you to do a type of work that you haven't done before, so say if you work in the city and you've never worked on an agricultural location before and you get the opportunity to go and do that, that's CPD. Or maybe your employer asks you to install a new type of product or material and you have to take time to learn about how to install it. Maybe the manufacturer comes in and gives you a demonstration on how to install it. In fact, a lot of manufacturers offer free CPD for precisely that reason, to come in and to show electricians how to install their products. That is great examples of CPD, and it's stuff that you can do while you're at work, and all you've got to do afterwards is record it. So one bit of advice that I would give to all of you is to check with your employer and your trade body or professional institution as to what type of activities they allow you to record as CPD. A lot of them will have a description on what type of activities you can record, and a lot of them may give examples of how to record it. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to watch a webinar that's been sent to me. I've got a recording of a webinar that I wasn't able to attend, so I'm going to watch that in my lunch break, and I'll let you know how I get on. So that's my first half an hour of CPD that I've got for free. So yesterday I watched a webinar and I gained half an hour of CPD. Today what I'd like to do is I'd like to get some work experience CPD that I can record. And so what I've got to do today is I've got to go and look at two new electricity connections. So one of them is a large connection, one of them is a small connection. One of them we have a temporary generator for the site temporaries, and this is something that I've done quite a few times before. I've spoken about maximum demand on my channel and new electricity connections, but every new electricity connection that I do seems to be different in some way. So I'm going to see if I can go on site today, see if I learn anything new, and see if there's anything that I can record as CPD. So today I've done the two site visits. I've been to look at two sites. One of them was a small connection, one of them was a large connection. It was slightly different in the way that we had site temps for one of the building sites, and also on the other one it was a slightly different arrangement than usual when requesting a new connection. So I'm going to put down an hour's worth of CPD for work experience for today. I'm going to record what I did and what I learned. So the next type of CPD that I'd like to look at is self-study. And self-study is great. It's something that you can do in the comfort of your own home, in the evenings, weekends, and there are lots of great resources online. I'm just looking at my computer right now and I'm looking at the IET website where there's some great resources for CPD. You could also try your trade organisation, or if you're a member of a professional body such as the IET, have a look on their website, or if there's any publications that you get regularly as part of your work, there are often articles that you can read and record as self-study. So I'm looking at the website now, and there's a few white papers that I find interesting. So there's a white paper by a manufacturer, and it's how to specify cast resin transformers. There's another one that says matching loads in LV assemblies with the electrical installation. That looks really, really good. This is interesting. So preparing your cabling for power over Ethernet. So I'm going to have a read through of these now and see how many hours of CPD I can get. So I've read the white papers that I was talking about the other day, and I've gained an additional 3 hours of CPD to add to the 1 hour that I gained for work experience earlier in the week and the half an hour that I gained for the first webinar that I watched. So that's 4.5 hours of CPD so far this week, which is not as much as I'd hoped for by this time in the week. It's now Wednesday and it's the evening, as you can see. I'm at home, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch another webinar, and this webinar is called Electrification of Buildings for Net Zero, the launch of the new CPD guidance. So that's a really interesting topic to watch a webinar on, with all the focus nowadays on reaching net zero. We're going to be moving away from gas and onto electric heating and things like ground source heating, air source heating, and things like that. So really interesting topic, and that's my tip for anybody watching. If you're in the electrical industry or building services industry in general, if you want to gain CPD, really interesting topic at the moment is anything to do with reaching net zero and the work that we have to do to achieve that. So that could be subjects like this. It could be about the move to electric heating, the move away from gas, or it could be about electric vehicles, and anything to do with reaching net zero, reducing carbon, and all of that. It's really good topics for CPD at the moment. One thing that will also be interesting is how the new technology affects the maximum demand of properties. I've spoken before about maximum demand on my channel, and so you can see the link at the end of this video to watch my videos about maximum demand. But the electrification of heating is really going to add to that, so it will really be interesting going forward to see how we look at the maximum demand calculations in the future, with all of the focus now on heating moving away from gas and onto electric heating. So I'm going to watch this webinar now, see how many more hours of CPD I can get, and I'll let you know how I get on. So I watched the webinar yesterday and I gained another hour of CPD. So that takes the total to 5.5 hours of CPD for the week, which is not as much as I thought that I would get over the course of a week, but it's all free CPD that I gained just from resources online and some work experience as well. Other weeks I might gain more, other weeks might be a little bit less. I guess the thing to take from this is to look out for opportunities to gain CPD whenever you can throughout your day at work. Also things that you can do at home. The other thing to say is that it's not just about gaining CPD hours, it's about keeping our knowledge up to date, which is really important in our industry, because we work in an industry that is changing all of the time and will probably continue to change. So I hope you found this video useful. If so, please subscribe to be the first to hear about more videos like this.